Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box and an unboxing of a brand new reprint of a classic game from the Great Battles of History series. And it is, of course, The Great Battles of Alexander, Macedonian Art of War, game design Richard Berg and Mark Herman, of course, graphic design Roger B. McGowan, and this is the expanded deluxe edition and contains 19 battles, and I think is a significant reprint because this is volume 1 in that Great Battle of History series. So what's all this about? Introducing the expanded deluxe version of the game system that started the classic Great Battles of History series. The Great Battles of Alexander includes the 10 battles from the deluxe edition, plus the complete, and I'll probably mispronounce this, Diadochoi and Phalanx GBOH module battles, plus 2 favourites from C3I magazine, and the Battle of Raphia. That's 19 great battles in all, from Philip II and Alexander the Great himself to the decisive battles of Alexander's successors. This is virtually the complete military history of the Macedonian Art of War in a classic Charles S. Roberts Award-nominated game. This second printing also includes the Tyrant module, featuring 10 battles from Carthage and Syracuse for the control of Sicily in 408 to 276 BC. This module includes a booklet, a half sheet of counters, and a 22 by 34 inch one-sided map. So, a shed load of battles in this box. We can see those, I assume, 19 games printed here with whereabouts they took place on this map here. Down here we can see some of the counters. And in the box we have 3 back-printed 22 by 34 inch maps and 1 single side map sheet, Alexander 6th edition rules booklet, Alexander scenario booklet, module booklets for Diadochoi, Phalanx and Raphia, 5 full colour counter sheets, player aid cards, and 1 10-sided die. Game scale unit, each strength point is equal to 100 men, players 1 to 4, time each game turn is equal to 20 minutes, and the map 70 yards per hex. Here we've got everybody involved in this expanded deluxe edition, and on the game meter, complexity is medium high at 6 out of 9, and the solitaire suitability is high at 7 out of 9. So once again, a sturdy 3-inch box. Right, let's get the shrink wrap off. The shrink wrap is off, so let's open the box. And the first thing we see that we always like to have a look at the beginning are the rules. So let's have a look at those. So here they are, 44 pages with a back page of an index, full colour matte paper. So those already familiar with the GBOH system will recognise the format of these rules. Now all these rules are similar depending on the boxed set you get, but there are differences. So introduction, game components and the playing pieces, all very familiar to those that already have one of these in the Great Battles of History series. Sort of explanation of terminology and the types of units you're going to get. Game scale, sequence of play. Leaders, again, all very familiar, and the individual or line command orders you can do. The overall commander of the scenario. Wing commanders, activating leaders and giving orders. Momentum, trumping. Elite commander initiative. This is in other games in the series. Macedonian contingent commanders, optional rule by the looks of it. Movement, terrain, and how to move these 2 hex units. Drift to the right, optional. Hoplites, yes. I think in the Hoplites Great Battles of History game, which I'm awaiting from the GMT P500, they move in a weird way, and this might represent that as well. Orderly withdrawals, prearrange withdrawals, stacking, facings and zocs, zones of control, requirements for shock, which is the up close and personal battles, missile fire, harassment and dispersal. All looks very good. And here we are, shock combat. A little bit of a procedure with that. Checking troop quality and the like. But once you do it a few times, you get used to it. This looks like an example of the shock procedure. Personal combat. Oh, leaders can have a go at each other. Advanced after combat. Cavalry pursuit, which is optional. Yeah, we've got the charts and tables. We'll have a look at those. The effect of combat. Reduction in cohesion. Unit rout and rally. Examples of that by the looks of it. Engaged. This is in most other GBOH games, I believe. Special units, war elephants. Didn't miss a page there, did I? No. And chariots. Goodness sake, don't let it catch on fire. Skirmishes, light troops, cataphracted cavalry, phalanxes and hoplites. Double depth phalanx. Artillery. Crikey. Cavalry charge formations, that's optional. Army, withdrawal and victory. Credits again at the end of the book. Sources, always good to see. And that index on the back. Looks good. And them's the rules. And then there's this handful of scenario booklets. Crikey. Let's have a quick look through these. Here's the scenario book for the core game, if you like. Here we are, introduction, competitive play, and the counter abbreviations used. And here's one of the scenarios, Aragon Valley. And they're all pretty much the same format, historical background, a map showing you what the battle will look like at the start, the setup, and any pre-game notes or scenario special rules, along with the victory conditions. So there we go. It's a big one. Filled with lovely sort of contemporary pictures. There we are. And then at the back, we've got the designer notes by Mark Herman and the thoughts behind how they designed it, which continues to the back page. That alone is enough to be getting on with, but we have this module, the Phalanx module, containing 2 more scenarios. This is the 2nd edition, March 2023, 8 pages. And again, introduction, rule changes for this module, and then those scenarios. Then we've got the module with the title I can never quite pronounce properly. And this is 20 pages. So again, similar format, but this time we've got the introduction and historical background here about the whole module, rule changes that are applicable to this module, and then scenarios themselves with their own individual historical background, setup, and the usual stuff. This looks different. There we are. Here we've got the Raffia module, just the one game of course, the Battle of Raffia, 217 BC, 12 pages, rule changes as per normal, and the battle itself with the historical background, pre-game notes and all that. Quite a lot on that one battle. Indian v African elephants. And some simple GBOH rules, I assume, for this scenario. Some sources at the back. And there we are. And then last but not least, the Tyrant module, the Battles of Carthage versus Syracuse, 480 to 276 BCE, containing simple GBOH versions as well, another 13 scenarios. So again, an introduction to this module. So some general information, and here we go into the battles, and each one has got the simple GBOH versions at the back. So once again, so much in these deluxe volumes, well worth the money if you're into this sort of game and this sort of era. The Battle of White Tunis. The Battle of Tunis itself. There we are. Some sources at the back and an epilogue. My goodness, what a lot of stuff. Next, 5.5 sheets of counters. So we'll have a whiz through those and show you what they look like. Here's the first sheet. If you want a bit more time to look at them, pause the video. But again, unfortunately, 1/2-inch counters. I know they have to be 1/2 inch, otherwise the map would be huge. But here we are. There's the other side, bit of glare there, sorry. Let's see if we can get rid of that. There we are. Number 2. They are, of course, the brown core thicker counters, which we're used to now. Here's the other side. Number 3, here come the admin counters. Here's number 4, and for my own benefit, I'm pleased they actually put where these units come from, which helps me to store it, probably in plastic bags with a label on the front where they come from. Other side. And here's sheet number 5. As I said earlier, 1/2 inch, and there is quite a lot of information on these counters, as you can see. So you may have to have your helper. The other side. And then lastly, this 1/2 sheet for the Tyrant module. There we are. That's the counters. AD10. 2 copies of Player Aid Card 1. This is a bifold. So let's have a look at that. So on the front, we can see the movement cost charts, special movement point costs, and the key and notes. In the middle, stuff familiar to those who already own the Great Battles of History game. We've got the Clash of Spears chart, shock superiority chart, shock combat results, missile range and results chart. And then on the back, the stacking chart, the good old die roll of doom, and elephant rampage table with a little rally table at the bottom. And 2 copies of Player Aid Card 2, again, bifold. So on the front of this one, we can see the leadership checks chart and the line composition chart. In the middle, over here, summary of orders and line commands, command summary chart, cohesion, hit and troop quality check chart, and troop quality and special checks. And on the back, the leader casualty table and an abbreviated sequence of play. And lastly, a single-sided sheet to keep track of your game turn and route points. And lastly, 5 map sheets. So let's see if we can show you those. Here's the first one, and a lot of these maps in the GBOH series are pretty featureless, a lot of desert battlegrounds. So as I say, here's the first one, and I'm going to butcher most of these names, I'm afraid. Gaugamela, and as you can see, same on the bottom bit. On the other side, though, a map with a bit more going on. We've got different levels here of terrain. And this, incidentally, is the Battle of Issus, 333 BC. So we've got a terrain key down the bottom. We've got the Gulf of Isis or Issus there, and the Panaris River going through. Up here, slightly different. That's rocky riverbed, so that might be a factor in your tactics. Next up, we've got the Battle of Chironia, or Caronia, not sure how to pronounce it, but there's the city down the bottom. Got some streams going through with some steep bank sides here. Looks interesting. And on the other side, the Battle of Granicus. The Granicus River running through the middle of the map. Here's a much smaller map, only half a map sheet. The Lyginus, and here's a river of that name. And the other half of this is the Gaugamela extension map. That's probably that big long one we saw in the scenario booklet. 2 more half maps. Great for those with limited space and maybe good scenarios to start off with. Not a lot of units probably. But this is Arigaeum and Pelium. There it is. This is a single-sided map sheet with 2 half maps on it. So once again, nice and small. There's a ditch here. This is the Battle of Mantinia. And the other one, the Battle of Salacia. And here's a palisade, it looks like, I think. So 2 interesting maps. And this is the last single-sided map sheet, which appears to be on different sort of type of paper, more shiny on the back. But of course, these are the maps for the Tyrant module. Himera, the city is up here. Got some sort of sea camp up the top. And the other one is Gela, or Gila. And there's the city. We've got some ramparts here. And that's it. That's everything in the box. So this has been a massive open the box, an unboxing of GMT's brand new printing, a deluxe edition of The Great Battles of Alexander, The Macedonian Art of War, designed by Richard Berg and Mark Herman, graphic design Roger B. McGowan. Wow, what a lot of stuff. But as I said earlier, these deluxe or multi-packs that GMT do means you get a lot of bang for your buck. But there we are. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting. If you did, and you haven't done so already, it would be wonderful if you would consider subscribing to the channel. Really does help. Pushing that like button, the thumbs up underneath this video, helps tremendously with the old algorithm, helps to tickle it. And if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push that bell. But make sure you push all notifications, otherwise YouTube gets a bit lazy and forgets to tell you. As I always say, I encourage you to leave a comment. What do you think? I know there's a lot of people out there with the previous deluxe edition, and I'm hoping this unboxing may well entice some new players to think, my goodness, where's the kitchen sink? I think I'll give this a go. But let me know what you think, because I love to read them. Thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you so much. And just to finish off quickly before I go, if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, you can buy the channel a coffee, and there's a link for that in the description below. Or you can push the super thanks button, which is located underneath the video. It's not obligatory, of course, but if you decide to do that, those donations do help the channel to keep ticking along, so thank you. Right then, I've got to put all this back in the box now, and I hope to see you in the next video. But until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.